Hello there everyone and welcome. My name is Waffles the Asian Yen Bear and today we're here to talk about the Cooler EZA because it's actually a little bit difficult. This cooler hits like an absolute semi-truck in the last 10 or 5 stages of his event, and it's gonna limit some of the units you might have thought you could have brought because they would be in the correct typing and the correct category. So we're gonna go over today units that you could bring and you should bring, units that you should avoid, as well as just talking a little bit about the Cooler EZA itself, just because it's a really good EZA and I like talking about it. So let's get into it right now. So let's start by first talking about leaders. You're going to want to bring STR Namek Goku as your leader. If you don't have him, you can make LR Spirit Bomb Absorb Goku work. However, even if you're giving him a lot of orbs, he is taking a ton from this event. In my testing, he was taking about 50k from normal attacks and 300k from super attacks. So if you have to bring him, put him in a slot where he takes the least amount of hits. But if you don't have to bring him because you've got STR Namek Goku, I would highly recommend just leaving Spirit Bomb Absorbed Goku at home. There is a better Super Saiyan Goku that you can use. We'll talk about a little bit later. But STR Namek Goku is definitely the preferred leader, and he's going to be pretty decent in this event, provided that you build up his defense. So if your first turn, there's first slot taking 5 hits and you've got STR Namek Goku, just slide him in the first slot. After the first 2 hits, he's going to be fine. Basically, he needs to build up his defense with attacks received, which means he needs to take those attacks. And once he's built up his defense, he's fine for pretty much the rest of the battle until you transform. You will transform in this battle most likely, unless you're a whale and you've got a whole rainbow units. But in my testing and my actual attempts here, I did transform every single time in the last 5 stages. So keep in mind you will do that, and he plays a little bit differently after that. So he is not going to be nearly as defensive once he transforms because he needs to stack defense instead. Which means once he does transform, start moving him away from some of those attacks and putting him in slots where he's not taking nearly as much. However, he is going to put out more offensive use or more offensive damage, maybe just more damage, that's the word. But because he has that high chance of performing a crit for 3 turns, because his guard is activated, he is an STR type, and we're fighting, of course, a Fizz type. So he's going to have guard activated, he'll have that crit, then he'll be totally fine. But I would say once he transforms, maybe float him off. He's not going to be as good for actually taking those hits, which means, yeah, you want to make sure he's just not taking as many hits as possible. Now, looking at some other units, one that I highly recommend bringing if you got him isn't even STR. You might have just saw my mouse there, or seen my mouse there. AGL Bardock. AGL Bardock will be able to transform immediately because you are facing a Wicked Bloodlines enemy. And what that means is he's going to have attacks effective against all types. He's going to have all crits. Every super attack he makes will be a crit against physical cooler. And he has an additional attack that has a 50% chance, I believe. Yes, a 50% chance to become a super attack. So you're going to be getting 2 super attacks per turn, effective against Fizz and crit. So that's going to be amazing. So I highly recommend bringing him if possible. Of course, he's also got a small chance to evade, about an 18% there, and 18% damage reduction. So this AGL Bardock, big recommendation. Bring him if you got him. He is going to be fantastic in this event. Other units to consider, just moving over to STR over here. STR Kefla is going to be pretty great if you give her these 6 orbs. If you do not give her the 6 orbs to dodge super attacks, you might have a bad time. She's going to be okay with normal attacks. Of course, my Kefla is rainbowed, so I'm not able to really test that free dupe. But this Kefla doesn't like taking super attacks. Normal attacks are going to be fine. And of course, you're probably not going to get the Super Saiyan 2 Kefla, but you will probably get the Super Saiyan Kefla. And again, you just want to make sure you're giving her the 6 orbs so she has that high chance to evade. Otherwise, she's going to be okay. Mostly just, again, 6 orbs, very important with Kefla. World Tournament Super Saiyan Gohan, though. I don't have him on JP, so I can't test there, unfortunately. But I've used him enough on Global to know that he is going to be fine in this event. That damage reduction, 58%, is great, plus his defense, he's going to be fine. He will not be doing a lot of damage, but he will be able to tank those hits, and honestly, that is going to be what's more important in this event, because there's a lot of units that are going to output a good amount of damage against the cooler, but not a lot of units that are going to take the damage well. So World Tournament Gohan, highly recommend, bring him if you got him. This guy, I can't test him either, but he is probably going to be decent. From what I've noticed, that attack and defense 200% and the special support makes him pretty much fine in most defense, so bring him if you got him. This guy though, this Super Saiyan Great Saiyaman was surprisingly good. I did not expect him to be as good as he was, and then he was one of the MVPs on my team. It could have just been the dupe level, but he took hits pretty well. So I would say maybe he's worth bringing if you have him. With the Majin Buu Saga category ally thing, that I think also helps, because if you bring him and pair him with LR, Goku, and Vegeta, which by the way, are probably must brings to this event. They are amazing in this one. So highly recommend bringing these guys, but they also get the support from this Great Saiyaman, and maybe you float Great Saiyaman here. I don't know. It really depends on what you've got on your team and what you want to link together, but both of those are fantastic units to bring. Other ones to talk about here. This guy, the Goku and, the Vegeta and Trunks, I don't think I'd recommend them. After the EZA, they're okay if they have time to stack, but they were still taking hits pretty hard when I was testing them. So I would not recommend bringing Super Vegeta and Super Trunks if you have other options. If you don't, they'll maybe be okay, but make sure they get at least 1 or 2 stacks before they start really taking hits. But yeah, I would say they took a little more damage than I would have liked in this event. Other units to consider, of course, we kind of want to avoid some of these, but STR Gogeta over here actually does pretty good work. He does take hits kind of, he doesn't really take hits that well, but he is going to output a lot of damage. So just make sure you're putting him in slots where he doesn't take too much, but he should be okay. Don't use him as your tank, but use him as a damager. He'll be okay. Other units to talk about. Here you can see this guy brought those and him, but over here, that was actually the next unit I wanted to talk about, because I think pretty much everyone has this guy, EZA'd. He is going to be okay, not great. Again, there is a better Super Saiyan Goku that we're going to talk about in a minute here, but you can bring him and he'll be okay. He'll be okay. Not great, but okay. Now, of course, this EZA has damage reduction against Tech, Int, and Fizz, so we do want to avoid bringing those typings. We definitely want to avoid bringing Int, because Int is just going to die. I don't know. I feel like you flick it, Int is going to die. So we want to avoid these, but because Tech, Int, and Fizz does not include AGL, we can dip into AGL for a couple decent units, including AGL Gohan. AGL Gohan, if he gets his first stack before he gets hit, he'll be okay. He takes, I think, 69k. Mine was free dupe, but he takes 69k from a normal attack before he got his first stack. After that, it was about 42 to 44k. So after he gets his first stack, he's going to be okay. After he gets 2 stacks, he's going to be fine. So just be careful. Don't put him in the first slot and don't let him get supered first. If he gets supered before he has time to stack, he's going to have a bad time. So we want to try to avoid that. But if you give him time to stack, he's going to actually be pretty decent. Other units to talk about though, right over here, this Goku is actually pretty decent. I know everyone hates him because he's just been on too many banners, although not recently, but just in the past, he was on too many banners and everyone got him rainbowed. He has damage reduction 21%. And this guy, that damage reduction is actually decent. He was taking what? I wrote it down over here, 20k from normal attacks, which compared to a lot of the other units, that's not bad. Like 20k from normal attacks makes him worth bringing. So I would say bring him if you need another unit. There's definitely ones you can use instead, but this Super Saiyan Goku is not really that bad. Of course, if you let him get up to Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, he'll be fine too, but I really don't think he's going to get up to there. That's not going to last that long. But just in the base and Super Saiyan 2 form, he is okay. Other units to talk about, AGL Gogeta. I actually would avoid bringing him. He takes 50k from normal attacks, and mine is rainbowed. So he takes 50k at rainbow from normal attacks, and that is ridiculous. So of course his chance to dodge is nice, and of course his attacks effective against all types is also nice, but I would avoid bringing him. He's not going to get the Super Saiyan Blue, so he's not going to have, what was it, the higher chance to dodge if I remember quickly? Yeah, higher chance to dodge. So really, you're stuck with Super Saiyan Gogeta, and yeah, he's not going to tank hits at all. So I would avoid bringing him if possible. as well as also avoid bringing this AGL Goten. AGL Goten when paired with a Trunks is okay, but in this event, AGL Goten, he took 278k from the super attack, which is more than you like. Is definitely a little more than you probably want to take, so I would avoid, even after the EZA, bringing AGL Super Saiyan Goten. Another one though that is surprising for me was AGL Super Vegito. If he doesn't take a super attack. If he takes a super attack, you're dead. But if he doesn't, he has damage reduction. And after you fall under 40% HP, you will be able to foresee enemy super attacks, which will be pretty helpful. I noticed he wasn't outputting a lot of damage, but it was really helpful to have him and know that he wasn't going to take too much from the normal attack. So really, if you can get lucky early on, you don't get early supered against this unit, yeah, he's pretty decent to bring. I would recommend him. I think there are better ones that we talked about already, but he is still decent. And then I think that was probably all the ones I wanted to talk about here. A lot of the other ones in AGL aren't really worth considering. AGL Trunks over here is still going to take a decent amount if the LR Spirit Bomb Absorb Goku took a lot. So I wouldn't recommend him. Of course, if you want to dip into tech, tech Trunks is okay, I guess. You want to avoid int. Fizz, you could run maybe physical Goten and Trunks or physical Super Saiyan Goku. I didn't really test those because ultimately I just want to focus on AGL and STR, but you could maybe bring them. Let me know if you do and tell me in the comments down below. But let's really quickly talk about the Cooler EZA itself. Okay, so I kind of already talked about this topic a little bit on the channel in a rant video when the Cooler EZA came out, because I saw Twitter discourse, people saw when his EZA released that, oh, it's mid, or oh, it's bad. But I think at this point, everyone already knows now it's a very good EZA. So let's talk about why. So first, his link set is very, very good, and he links well with STR Cooler. The problem Physical Cooler had was that he was not good defensively. He was very fragile, and you basically, I wouldn't say like you blew a little bit of air and he died, but if you threw like a dodgeball at him, he died. So it's not the best. Thankfully, he builds up his defense up to 80%, and it is calculated separately for a total of 296% defense after 10 attacks. Now, that is building up, so it's kind of like a stacker unit, which means he's not going to be as bulky early on. However, he's still very strong offensively early on. That attack, 120%, even before he has this, he is hitting around, I think, 2.5 to 2.8 million when I last tested him. Of course, my cooler is still being link leveled, so he isn't at link level 10 yet. I think he's like link levels 5 to 8, somewhere around there. And so he's still doing pretty good on his first turn. On his last turn, he's going to be doing extremely good. So this cooler, if you have him, is fantastic, and you should be doing this EZA. It's a difficult EZA, so if you aren't able to complete it now, don't worry about it. Just do as much as you can. But I do highly recommend actually doing this EZA. It is so, so good. You can see he's got a lot of very good categories as well. And a lot of those are categories that he links with STR Cooler on, which means you just put them together, transform STR Cooler, and you're just beating through any Saiyan event is just going to drop. So this is very, very good unit. So highly recommend, again, doing this. Hopefully this actually helped you. I want to try to avoid covering too many EZAs from now on. I think when I was covering the Gotenks EZA, it was actually kind of an easy EZA. So I'd like to avoid covering any of the ones that are easy, but one that I actually struggled on, Cooler's EZA, I think it would be good for me to make these guides. But if you ever have questions about one that maybe I didn't cover, or maybe you want some help about that, you can always leave a comment and I'm happy to answer that. Or you can ask me in Discord. Of course, my Discord down in the description. We're not super active, but you can use that to ask me any Dokkan questions that you want. All that being said, my name is Waffles and Yenber. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more guide videos in the future on Dokkan content. And I hope you have a good day, a good week, a good life. And I actually did the outro really well this time in the like and subscribe thing. Yay! Goodbye!